Everyone warned them the Bernese was too big to be around a baby. The night they almost took him to the shelter, he proved every single one of them wrong. Harlow had been reaching for things since she was 4 months old. Reaching was her whole world, toward mobile parts, toward faces, toward whatever occupied the middle distance between herself and everything she hadn't touched yet. She was 6 months old, green shirt, propped on the living room carpet with a cushion behind her, and the thing she was reaching toward now was the muzzle of a 110-pound Bernese Mountain Dog named Beau. Beau was not moving. He had lowered his head to the floor so that his muzzle sat 6 inches from Harlow's outstretched fingers. He had been in this position for 4 minutes. He had not moved, not blinked with any urgency, not made a sound. His eyes tracked the small hand with a patience that looked, to Mira Chen, like the patience of an animal waiting for something. Mira was a speech-language pathologist. She worked with infants and toddlers on developmental communication. She understood the interaction between early sensory exploration and motor development. She understood that a child reaching toward an animal's face could generate a startle response at a crucial developmental window. "Beau is too close to her," she said. Her husband, Patrick, looked up from the kitchen counter. He had grown up with large dogs. He saw an old dog lying on his face next to a baby. Mira saw a 110-pound animal with an unpredictable startled threshold. She moved Harlow to the bouncy seat. Over the following 2 weeks, she documented what she was seeing. Beau, positioning himself near Harlow whenever Harlow was on the floor. Beau lowering his head to Harlow's level. Beau holding still while Harlow reached toward his face, with both hands open, fingers spread, the way infants reach for things they have decided to want. Each time Mira moved Harlow away, each time Beau waited. Her mother-in-law came to visit on a Thursday. She watched for 20 minutes and said it plainly. A dog that size near a baby that small is not appropriate. You know that, Mira. Mira already knew. She was already researching rehoming networks. She was already writing the listing in her head. Purebred Bernese, 4 years old, excellent temperament, needs a home without young children. The listing existed in her head for 6 days. If you stay for stories about what animals sense before we do, you're in the right place. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Harlow had been fussy all of the 6th day. Not crying, fussy. The low-grade discomfort kind. The kind that has no obvious source. She was off her feed slightly. She was sleeping in short increments. Mira had checked her temperature twice. Normal. She had checked for teeth. Nothing. She had checked the usual checklist and found nothing to explain the fussiness, and had gone to fold laundry in the bedroom with the monitor on the nightstand. Beau, who had been in the hallway, walked to the living room and sat beside Harlow's bouncy seat. He pressed his nose gently against the side of the seat, then lifted his head and made a sound Mira heard, clearly from the other room. Not barking. A single soft vocalization that sat between a whine and something she could not name. She paused. He made it again. She came to the doorway. Beau was sitting upright beside the bouncy seat. His nose was 3 inches from Harlow's face. He looked at Mira. He looked at Mira again. Something in the quality of his attention made her pick Harlow up. Harlow's body was warm, but slightly wrong. The warmth wasn't quite distributed the way it usually was. Cooler at the extremities than the torso. Her color was slightly off. Mira put 2 fingers to Harlow's cheek and felt the quality of the warmth and said Patrick's name loudly, the way you say a name when you are already moving. At the urgent care clinic, Harlow's blood glucose was 38 milligrams per deciliter. The pediatrician on duty, Dr. Elspeth Kowalski, ordered labs immediately and explained with careful clarity that they were looking at a hypoglycemic episode in an infant with no prior glucose history. Infants presenting this way often showed minimal external symptoms. Fusiness, slight pallor. The parents almost always described it the same way. Off, but nothing obvious. Another 30 minutes, Dr. Kowalski said, and we would be looking at seizure risk. Has your dog ever done something that made no sense? Until it was the only thing that made sense. Tell us in the comments. These stories deserve to be heard. They drove home in silence. Patrick drove. Mira sat in the back with Harlow and thought about the listing she had composed in her head. Purebred Bernese, 4 years old, excellent temperament, needs a home without young children. She thought about Beau sitting beside the bouncy seat, with his nose 3 inches from her daughter's face, looking at her. She thought about what a 110-pound dog communicates when he has run out of other options. At home, she opened the front door, and Beau was in the hallway. She sat down on the floor. He came and pressed his head against her shoulder and stayed there. She put her hand on the back of his neck. She didn't say anything. There wasn't a word that held the right weight. Every guardian deserves to be recognized, even the ones who never ask for anything in return. If stories like this matter to you, subscribe so you never miss the next one. Harlow is 9 months old now. She has a continuous glucose monitor and a diagnosis and a treatment plan. She has a Bernese Mountain Dog who lies on the floor of her room each night, nose lifted occasionally toward the air, still reading what none of the rest of them can smell. The listing never got written down. Coming next, a dog that refused to let a toddler pass a certain doorway for 4 consecutive days. What was behind it changed how the whole family understood the word vigilance.